Across America, a silent fleet sits beneath torn covers. Once shiny family boats, now baking in driveways, fading like the dreams they were sold on. But here's what nobody tells you. Most of them didn't die from neglect. They were built to fail. Cheap parts, vanished brands, and engines no one remembers how to fix. These boats were supposed to make memories. Instead, they became warnings. Today we'll dig into the ghosts of the boating world, the models that sank in value, and the hidden reasons why some hulls never deserved a second chance. The Bayliner Capri might just be the most relatable boat in America, because everyone knows someone who's owned one, fixed one, or tried to sell one for way too long. These things were the gateway drug to boating, cheap, cheerful, and everywhere. But the problem with being everyone's first love is nobody wants you back once they've moved on. Under the hatch, you'd often find a humble 3-liter 4-cylinder that worked hard, but sounded like it was begging for retirement. Some even ran the old OMC drives, which are now basically fossils from the Jurassic era of marine mechanics. Finding parts for them is like hunting for an honest Craigslist description. Capris can still float fine and haul the kids around a lake. But resale, brutal. You'll post it, drop the price 3 times, and eventually sell it to someone's cousin who just wants a cheap toy. Great memories? Sure. Great investment? Not a chance. Think that old Capri looks like a deal. Don't grab the keys just yet. Hit subscribe and stick around. The next few boats will show how fast a cheap find can become a money pit. By the 2000s, Bayliner had cleaned up its act, at least cosmetically. The 205 and 215 looked sleeker, had flashier upholstery, and didn't smell like the Reagan era. But under the sparkle, these were still budget builds with small engines, the kind that strain just to pull a tube. You could practically hear them whisper, "I'm doing my best." They were built for the weekend crowd, the "I just got a bonus, let's get a boat" demographic, and that's fine, until those buyers realized the bonus ended, but the maintenance didn't. Today they're the classic Facebook marketplace boomerang, sold, then relisted, then sold again because nobody wants to winterize them twice. If you find a clean one, it's not a terrible boat, just don't confuse entry-level with classic. For the price, it's a decent family cruiser, but in resale terms, think of it like a used treadmill. You'll enjoy it for a bit, then spend months trying to convince someone else it's still fun. Maxum was Bayliner's attempt to say, hey, we can be classy too, and for a while it worked. The 1800 and 1900 SR looked sharper, handled better, and gave you that subtle illusion of luxury, until 2009, when Brunswick axed the whole brand overnight. Just like that, every Maxum became an orphan. Now imagine explaining to a buyer, no, the company doesn't exist anymore, but it's totally fine. That's like trying to sell a phone from a brand that vanished during your test drive. The boats themselves weren't bad, Mercruiser power, decent hulls, but once the name disappeared, resale followed it straight to the bottom. Still, if you're the kind of boater who keeps their ride forever and just wants a clean runabout, a Maxum can be a steal, but if you're buying to flip, forget it. You'll have better luck selling snow in Alaska. The Maxum isn't worthless, just invisible in today's market. Larson boats were like that dependable mid-level sedan your uncle swears by. Comfortable, practical, and built by a company that's been around forever. But when Genmar, Larson's parent company, went bankrupt in 2009, the brand's reputation took a direct hit. Buyers started asking the one question sellers dread. So, who supports this thing now? The truth is, the boats themselves are fine. Fiberglass is solid, interior's decent, and most had trusty Mercruiser or Volvo power plants. But the word bankruptcy sticks in the boating world like a bad Yelp review. Suddenly, your once respectable Larson becomes that mystery brand people scroll past while searching for a Sea Ray. Owners trying to sell them quickly learn that fresh bellows and manifolds doesn't sound as sexy as limited edition Chaparral. But here's the bright side, if you buy one for yourself, you'll get a lot of boat for not much money. Just don't expect applause when you tell people what you drive. Rinker boats were the working man's Sea Ray, solid Midwest machines that gave you sporty looks without a yacht club price tag. But in 2020, Polaris pulled the plug on the brand to focus on pontoon boats. And that was the end of the Captiva line. Overnight, they went from solid value to collector's item that nobody's collecting. It's a shame, because Rinker actually made nice stuff. The 186 and 212 handled well, interiors were comfortable, and maintenance was straightforward. But with the brand gone, buyers treat them like discontinued smartphones. Yeah, it works great, but what happens when it breaks? If you already own one, you've basically got the perfect lake boat for the next decade. Just don't try to sell it for what you think it's worth. People will lowball you like they're buying an old jet ski. Rinkers are like that trusty golden retriever, loyal, lovable, and getting harder to rehome with age. Tahoe boats are what happens when you give a department store a boat mold and say, make it affordable. Built for families who wanted to hit the water without breaking the bank, the Tahoe Q-series was everywhere in the 2000s, and like department store sneakers, they were fine until you tried to resell them. These boats came with bright gel coat, comfy seats, and budget-friendly Mercruiser packages, but time wasn't kind. Cheap upholstery cracked, decals faded, and that affordable tag became a curse in the second-hand world. Buyers on forums summed it up bluntly. They're not bad, but they're not good enough to pay more than $5,000 for. They still float, they still pull a tube, and for casual lake days, they'll absolutely do the job. But if you're listing one, prepare for messages like "still available," followed by eternal silence. Tahoe Q-series boats are proof that when you build for the masses, you eventually get left with them. If you think the Tahoe's rough resale is bad, wait till you see what's next. Hit subscribe before we dive into the boats that make even bargain hunters say, yeah, maybe not. If boat brands were high school students, Azure would be the mysterious new kid who showed up mid-semester, made a decent impression, then moved away without telling anyone. They looked good on paper, stylish lines, decent interiors, and Mercruiser or Volvo power. But then the 2008 financial crisis hit, and Azure quietly vanished into the fog. The boats themselves weren't bad. They rode well, handled decently, and felt surprisingly upscale for the price. The problem? Hardly anyone remembers the name. Try selling one today and half your inquiries start with, "What's an Azure?" followed by a polite, "Oh, cool, I'll think about it." Spoiler, they won't. Without brand recognition or clear factory support, resale value tanked faster than a cheap bilge pump. The few enthusiasts who know them love them, but everyone else scrolls right past. Azure boats are the marine version of an old luxury brand you can't pronounce. Interesting, underrated, and invisible to 99% of buyers. If you've ever wondered what happens when a snowmobile company builds a boat, the Sea-Doo Challenger and Speedster are your answer. Fast, loud, and fun. until you have to fix them. These jet boats ripped across lakes like caffeinated dragonflies, but when BRP pulled the plug on sport boats in 2012, the resale market flatlined overnight. Jet propulsion was their gimmick. No prop, no problem. Except when you suck up weeds, sand, or a rope, suddenly you do have a problem. Mechanics who still work on these are basically unicorns, and replacement parts feel priced by NASA. Owners love them for the adrenaline rush, instant acceleration, no outdrive maintenance, but when it's time to sell, good luck. Buyers fear jet boat problems the way sailors fear storms. The Challenger is like that Wild X. Thrilling in the moment, but exhausting to deal with long term. Before Sea-Doo dominated the jet boat craze, there was Sugar Sand, a name that sounds more like a beach drink than a boat builder. Based out of Fargo, they cranked out sporty little jet boats in the late 90s and early 2000s. Fun? Absolutely. Sustainable? Not at all. The Mirage and Tango could spin, zip, and blast across lakes like oversized jet skis, but when the company folded around 2008, the party ended. Parts became rare, manuals disappeared, and every owner forum turned into a digital ghost town. You'll see a few still running, mostly in the hands of DIY wizards who know how to weld, patch fiberglass, and pray. Try selling one now, and buyers will treat it like an archaeological artifact. Does it run? Can you get impellers? Wait, who even made this? They're not bad boats, they're just extinct. Sugar sands are like fireworks, exciting while they last, but no one wants to clean up afterward. When Scarab re-entered the market with its flashy new jet boat lineup, the 195 was supposed to be a game-changer. Sleek design, edgy graphics, and a Rotax engine borrowed from the snowmobile world. It screamed fun. Literally, the thing sounded like a chainsaw doing 50 miles per hour, but early owners quickly discovered the downside of being first. Those 2014-2015 builds had teething issues, from rattles and software gremlins to water intrusion complaints. Jet propulsion is great until your weekend turns into a troubleshooting session on a forum full of other frustrated owners. Scarab eventually ironed things out, but the damage was done. Early 195s got a reputation for being the beta test boats of the lineup. Now they linger online like warning signs. Shiny, affordable, but always accompanied by a comment like, "It runs great, now." Think of it as dating someone who's changed a lot since then. Maybe fine today, but you'll never forget the past. The celebrity names sounded glamorous, but these boats weren't exactly red carpet material. They were decent bowriders from the 90s, mid-range builds that worked fine for lake duty, but when the brand quietly disappeared around 2001, resale value went down with it. They didn't have the flash of a Cobalt or the muscle of a Donzi. They were the middle child of the boating world. Never bad enough to hate, but never good enough to miss. Most were powered by trusty Mercruisers, so mechanically they're fine. The problem is, nobody under 14 knows the brand even existed. When you tell people you own a celebrity, you'll get raised eyebrows, right up until they see it's a 25-year-old runabout with cracked vinyl. Today they sell mostly to budget tinkerers who enjoy polishing nostalgia. They're reliable, but as investments, let's just say these celebrities never made it past season 1. Reinell boats were West Coast favorites. Tough, good-looking, and perfectly happy towing skiers around Lake Tahoe or Shasta. But outside that region, most people think Reinell is a typo. The brand bounded through ownership changes and finally faded out in the 2010s, leaving a lot of great boats with no name recognition east of Nevada. It's a classic case of regional loyalty gone national silence. Reinells with Volvo Pento power are perfectly fine machines. But because the company's history zigzagged through mergers and closures, buyers hesitate. They'd rather spend more on a brand they'd heard of than risk an orphan. So if you're shopping used and find a clean Reinell, it's arguably a steal. They ride well, look sharp, and age gracefully, but if you're trying to sell one, prepare for awkward questions like, "So who makes that again?" Reinell owners know the truth. Great boats, terrible branding, like a rock band that should have made it big but never left their hometown. This one's the forgotten cousin of the Bayliner family, the 2052 Capri Cuddy cabin. Once pitched as the perfect weekender boat, it let you nap under fiberglass instead of bugs. In theory, that was brilliant. In practice, small cuddies like this aged out of fashion faster than cargo shorts. The 2052 runs on the same small block IOs as other Bayliners, so mechanically it's fine. The problem is resale appeal. Modern buyers want open bow space, not a claustrophobic cave with damp cushions. You'll post pictures of that tiny cabin thinking, "Someone will love this," but buyers see it and imagine heat stroke and mildew. Still, these boats make fantastic bargains for solo anglers or couples who actually use the cabin for gear, but if you're hoping to flip it, forget it. The only thing slower than its top speed is the rate it sells. Owning a 2052 Capri Cuddy today is like owning a VCR, useful if you already have one, impossible to give away if you don't. Caravelle boats looked sharp. Good lines, decent trim, flashy colors, but the brand changed owners more often than a used iPhone. One decade it was back, the next it was gone, then back again under someone else. That brand whiplash wrecked buyer confidence. The 19 to 21 foot sport models were fine performers for small lakes, with predictable handling and average interiors. But when you buy one, you're not just buying a boat, you're buying a question mark. Who supports this? Where do I get parts? Is it still a thing? And the honest answer is usually, maybe? Caravelles are like that restaurant that changes names but keeps the same menu. Locals might still go, but outsiders stay cautious. If you plan to keep it for years, you'll enjoy the ride. If you plan to resell, brace yourself for low offers and long silences. They're not bad boats, just brand ghosts from an era when nobody could decide what Caravelle wanted to be. Nitro's fishing boats have always been the budget option in a world dominated by Ranger and Skeeter. The older 19 to 20 foot fish and ski models tried to please everyone, bass fishermen in the morning, families in the afternoon. Instead, they pleased nobody at resale. On the water, they're fine. Fast enough, stable enough, and built for practicality, but they lack the prestige that bass anglers crave. Used buyers scanning listings see Nitro and instantly scroll to the next Ranger, even if it's twice the price. In the boating world, reputation sells, and Nitro's older builds never quite earned hero status. If you find one that's been pampered, it's a great do-it-all boat for cheap, but if you're trying to sell, prepare for brutal lowballs and trade-in quotes that feel like an insult. Owning an older Nitro is like dating someone wonderful who your friends just can't remember the name of. Functional, loyal, and destined to be overlooked. Some boats age, others just sink in value. Every failed model teaches what to avoid next time. Thanks for watching, and if this saved you from a bad buy, hit subscribe for more boating truths.